y'all. This is going to be my first reaction video. We got the boy John Hope Bryant. He's very well known for giving out financial advice to the black and brown community. He's a self-made multi-millionaire. Don't fact check me. I'm not always sure. I know he worked for some presidential campaigns, some presidential organizations, actual presidents. I think he worked for President Obama at the time and might have worked for George Bush. And that gives some legitimacy to his name. We're not here to throw no dirt on his name today, but he up here spewing some BS, and we got to call out the BS because, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But we here because we don't want to be no dummies. That's why we here. This is education. So let's just get into the video, and I'm going to react to it.
If you sell an asset, you owe taxes, capital gains. But if you get a loan against the asset, you don't pay taxes.
This is correct. You're not lying about this part. But it's just not that easy. It's actually very complicated. And you need to be very financially savvy to be taking out a loan against your asset because there's a lot of things that could go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. But let's let them cook.
In fact, you write that loan off against your taxes and get the benefit back twice.
All right, we got to just say this. Money can't fix lame. It just don't fix lame. If you lame, I just hate to see you lame. You lame with money. I ain't mad at you. But you can't give some of these big head fuckers no money because they be out here giving financial advice, be spewing a bunch of nonsense. I ain't saying it's all nonsense, but a lot of times it be some complete BS that probably ain't gonna work for most people. Anyway, money don't fix lame. That's the point.
Wealthy people don't want income. I'm gonna break this down to you. When Warren Buffett said, my receptionist pays more in taxes than I do, that's because he does not have an income.
I want to avoid that.
Yeah?
First of all, I really don't like when they use people like Warren Buffett. First of all, Warren Buffett, like 100 years old, he was around when they were building railroads. He had opportunity to invest in railroads. Let that sink in. He was around when they was starting Coca-Cola. He had the opportunity to invest in Coca-Cola when it was just starting out. Let that also sink in. A lot of investments he made, he was around for when those things were being created. This is when America was becoming America. So a lot of what he did don't apply today for the average person trying to create wealth. It just doesn't work. Not the same. It's on a different playing field. No discredit to Warren Buffett. Really just hate when they use these people like they are the standard that we need to strive to. Warren Buffett done great things. I can't say nothing bad about Warren Buffett, but you ain't got no money yet. So, and it's a very percentage you gonna reach the amount of money that Warren Buffett has.
How Warren avoided that?
The secretary is paying taxes of 38 to 45%.
Trying to see what the boy Warren did.
38 to 45%. That's the first real lie. And a quick Google search is going to debunk that. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. All right, we got 38 to 45%. We got 10 to 37%, 37 on the high end. Now, Warren Buffett's secretary, I seriously doubt that she's making 600 bands a year. I doubt that. So let's just be generous and say she's making anywhere from $48,000 to $103,000. So that would put her in the 22% tax bracket. 22% is a lot. So every $100 you have, they take $22 from that 100. Astronomical. And that's just federal. State, that's a whole different ballgame. The point is that it ain't 38 to 45%. The BS just has to stop. And that's a quick Google search. Nothing crazy. Just, we like to fact check. Check your facts. We're not here to be a dummy. So, and she works for Warren Buffett. I am almost certain that they have instructed her or helped her to find some ways to not pay that full 22% in taxes. Like she should have a health savings account, HSA account, where that lowers her tax liability. She should have a 401k that lowers her tax liability. Some things to just lower their tax liability. And if she has a family, that number goes down tremendously. She's not paying 22%. This is just single filer that you have no dependents at all. You're just claiming yourself. You're a single individual claiming yourself. So 22% is not even really likely. That is just this single individual. If she has a family, that number goes down tremendously. All right, let's continue. Let's let them cook.
Right.
Okay. Warren only pays taxes when he sells an asset.
That part is true.
It's called capital gains.
Of
It's
course.
20%. And he only sells assets once every 5 years or so.
Now, I don't know how he knows his information. He might got some inside information. You know, this is multi-millionaire, billionaire conversations. So I don't know how he still knows he sells something once every 5 years. I don't know. If you know, put it in the comments.
So what he doing with the income?
And in the meantime, he's taking loans against his assets,
He take loans
which are tax deductible.
He taking loans and you gotta cover.
All billionaires, the way you phrase it, no billionaires on an income.
Right.
I mean, on salary.
If you are a billionaire, why do you care that you have income? If you have $1 billion, I don't think most people understand how much money $1 billion is. Second, you got income. I don't care what you call it. You got money coming in from somewhere. It might not be called it income. It might try to be phrased as something else. But it's incoming into your account. So it's incoming somewhere, and it's gonna get taxed. Now, those are the people who are getting taxed at 38 to 45%. But they have plenty of loopholes, plenty of ways to write taxes off. So they're for sure not paying that. That's why America is in this whole debacle it is now with wealthy people, because they don't want to pay taxes. And taxes go into the economy, blah, blah, who knows where our money is going. But the point is that billionaires, you don't need an income. The everyday working person, aka Warren Buffett's secretary, needs an income. So the secretary don't have no way around that. We, your everyday person, have no way around that. So we got to learn different strategies to not be a dummy and pay all your taxes. Let's continue.
Billionaires do not like income because it's taxed at the highest rate possible.
All right. To recap that, billionaires, of course, don't like income, but the tax rate experience of BS, and let's just go real quick and we're going to just review the pros and cons of borrowing against your asset, because they really be acting like it's just so easy. It is not that easy. Borrowing against your assets, a lot of things can really go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. You have to be very savvy to be able to borrow against assets. Now, let's just go through a couple of pros, which he mentioned. Pros, tax avoidance. You're able to avoid paying taxes on if you, instead of selling your asset, which you have to pay capital gains on. And fun fact, if you hold an asset longer than a year, your capital gains go down tremendously. It can go down in between 10 to 15%. If I'm not mistaken, you can definitely fact check me, but it doesn't necessarily have to be 20%. Portfolio growth, interruption avoided, portfolio fast and flexible liquidity. Yes, you get to get the money quickly out, because of whatever you need the money for, if you want to fund your lifestyle, this and that. But first, you got to get enough money to be able to have access to borrow against. That's step 1 through 10 before we get to borrowing against assets. Now the cons, the things that can go wrong. Risk of margin calls and liquidation. Basically, your assets can get liquidated. If your value and they want you to present more capital, if you're not able to present that capital, they're going to liquidate your assets till they cover whatever amount that you owe. All right, variable interest rate. Asset-backed lines of credit rely on variable interest rate. That means your interest rate is not fixed. It's going to fluctuate up and down, probably more up than down. So you'll be paying interest on the daily rate. It's one thing they don't tell you. This is why this is not that easy. Compounding losses. Leverage amplifies your financial gains, but equally multiplies your losses. You can make money, but you can also lose a lot of money. Simple as that. Restricted asset access. That's why you're borrowing against your assets is basically the person whoever lending you asset. They hold your asset as collateral. So if you need to cash out, you can't do that until you pay whatever money back that you owe. Or they're gonna use your collateral and decrease whatever your collateral is, and then you take the rest of your money. But it's gonna be penalties and everything else, taxes. It's a whole debacle. You're gonna probably be in a worse situation than you started in, trying to lend against your assets. Once again, it sounds like a wonderful idea, and it is very possible. But you need to have a significant amount of assets. You need to have a significant amount of money before you even let this enter your thought process. So until you get steps 1 through 10, do not think about borrowing against assets. That game is not for you. You're playing the wrong game. All right. Hey, thank y'all for coming. Hey, if you don't want to be a dummy, you're in the right place.